Jon Moxley wins the AEW championship, beating Bryan Danielson, basically just choking him out right there in the middle. And then they do the post-match angle where Wheeler Yuta turns heel and the entire faction, whatever they're going to be called, beat the hell out of Danielson, put the bag around his head again, stomped his neck Brian Pillman style in the chair, and fought off the entire locker room and security and escaped with Danielson being stretchered out. And that's how the pay-per-view went off the air. So kind of surprising. I don't know how many good reviews that's going to get if fans are going to have a problem with this. It was a very dark way to end the pay-per-view. And tonight's show was really good, I thought. And if they would have closed it with a big angle like Shane McMahon showing up, I would have thought they hit a home run here tonight. For Danielson's final match, I mean, maybe this is the way he wanted to go out. You know, maybe it's part of a bigger thing. Moxley's been alluding to, you know, some sort of higher or greater power. Wheeler Yuta, even when he turned heel, he seemed conflicted, like he was being forced to do it. So there's a lot more story to be told, but ending the pay-per-view this way, depressing the hell out of the Tacoma crowd, watching Danielson being beaten so badly that he has to be stretchered out of the ring. They're even taking the ropes down just to have enough room to get him out of there. It was kind of just a dark ending, you know, and not every story can have a happy ending. If you want to book your product as reality, sometimes fucked up things happen. Sometimes you miss the final shot. Sometimes you lose by one. Sometimes you fumble the ball. Or sometimes you lose and your career ends and you get paralyzed in front of your hometown audience. Sometimes those things happen. But I felt like the way the show was going, the way we were watching it together and enjoying it, I felt like a big angle to close the show would have been great. So we'll see. There might still be something coming down the line. I don't know where Shane McMahon fits in all of this. That's why, as we were watching near the end of that match, and I'm like, boy, at this point, I don't even know if Shane were to come out, what the point of it would be. You know, Danielson's already getting wrecked. Is he coming out to save him at this point? Like, what would he be coming out for? So maybe that's still something that's coming, just like Lashley is still coming. Or, you know, maybe Shane ain't coming in at all. Running through it real quick, going by memory, we opened up with Jay White and Hangman Page, and that was a really good, fun match with Jay White getting the clean win, which surprised me. Willow Nightingale losing to Mariah May was not surprising, but it was a really, really good match. Enjoyed the hell out of that one. Jack Perry retaining over Shibata. That was an okay match, but we had a lot of extracurricular with MJF showing up. Well, first Daniel Garcia showed up to get in Perry's face and say, hey, I want a shot at the title. Then MJF made his surprise return. After that, we got Adam Cole, who looked healthy, who ran down to the ring, who looked like he was ready to get physical. So let's hope he's cleared and he's ready to rock, and maybe they can pick up some MJF and Adam Cole stuff. After that, I think was the Ricochet, Will Ospreay, and Konosuke Takeshita match, right, for the International Championship. Don Callis did, in fact, play a role in this. So did Kyle Fletcher, who turned heel and helped Takeshita win the championship. So I was kind of thinking they might save Takeshita for like Okada down the line, but I'm happy with the way this went. And finally, Takeshita is holding some singles gold. Didn't care too much about Hologram and Beast Mortos was good, but kind of went a little bit long for my taste. Same with the Young Bucks and the Private Party. Didn't hate the match, but didn't really care, too much about it. Chris Jericho and Mark Briscoe, kind of the same thing, although I did like the way Briscoe put Jericho down. So those matches I think might have been the weakest, the Bucks and Private Party and Mortos and Hologram and Briscoe and Jericho, but none of those matches were necessarily bad. I just think they were the weakest on the show. Swerve Strickland had his segment tonight, returning in front of that audience. As predicted, MVP and Shelton Benjamin came out. MVP offering his services once again, and Swerve sticking with Prince Nana and aligning with him, kind of a pull-apart, little shoving match, I believe, there. And it looks like Bobby Lashley's debut will have to wait. We did not see him here. And then, of course, in the main event, Bryan Danielson defending against Jon Moxley. I was thinking Shane McMahon would be revealed as the leader of this group or whatever the hell's going on here. And we didn't see that. All we saw was Moxley straight beat Danielson clean, choking him out. Referee didn't want to ring the bell, but he had to. Rang the bell. Danielson loses the title and possibly loses his career because after the match, Pac, Claudio, Shafir, and Yuta all beat down Danielson, with Yuta turning heel. Cassidy and Darby and Briscoe, some baby faces from the locker room, tried to come down to help out along with security, but they were fought off. And Danielson got the bag over his head again and got Brian Pillman chair stomped on his neck. And the announcers kept alluding to all night the fact that he needs to get surgery. So this is now going to put Danielson out for a very significant amount of time. And the show went off the air with the EMTs stretchering out Danielson in front of his home state there, in front of that crowd, that the air just deflated out of them when the referee rang the bell. Very reminiscent of like an Undertaker losing the streak type of thing. It was just like, oh, are you serious? That's the way it's ending? I don't know if a lot of fans were necessarily shocked that Danielson lost. It was just the way he did. And the way that shock from the audience came and everything that happened post-match, it was a very, very dark way to end the pay-per-view, I thought. So not necessarily bad, but I don't know. I'm not sure what the feeling is going to be online, because we watched the show and we're enjoying it, especially those first early matches. And I feel maybe it might have sputtered out, and the finish and the way the main event was booked might have disappointed some. I'm still willing to see if this is a part of a much more awesome upcoming segment, because after the match, Moxley gave the belt right to Claudio. He put it in the duffel bag. Obviously, they're working for someone here, so there's still a big piece of this puzzle to be revealed. I do not think tonight was the final Bryan Danielson match of all time. It's not. I do believe tonight was the final night of a Bryan Danielson full-time in-ring career. And I said that when he came out in his entrance tonight. I said the truth is written all over his face. He came through the tunnel. You know how you are when you're trying to hold back, emotion or tears. You're kind of, and he just had that look on his face where he knows this is the last time he's going to breathe this in as a full-time performer. He's going to wrestle again. But as we know him, this was the last night for him. So I can see a return and even one final match at some point down the road, depending on what he wants to do with his career and life. But it felt like, based on his body language and the way, his facial expression in the beginning was kind of telling the story there. So we will see. All the best to him, though. What a career. What a run. What a run. He had ups and downs and some pauses and some valleys, but ultimately, he's got a lot to be proud of. Major champion in both companies, main eventing pay-per-views in both companies, main eventing a WrestleMania, a couple of them.